Hi, this is a short tutorial on how to get photos out of your Picasa image management program and onto your USB stick. Let's begin. You've got the USB stick in your hand. Go ahead and plug it into the computer. But before you do, take note of the brand name on that stick because it's going to come in handy later. If it's the first time you're using the stick, the computer might take a few moments to recognize it, but that's all it should take, and then it should be good to go. So because you've used Picasa before, you know how it's structured. You've got the folders on the left, and when you click on them, you can see the contents of that folder on the right, the actual images. In my example, you can see two folders, one called Saved Pictures up at the top, which contains 1, 2, 3, 4 images, and beneath it, another folder called New Folder, which has multiple images in it. You'll note that when I left-click with my left mouse button on any photo, a blue border appears around it, indicating that it is the photo that is currently selected. And the photo that is currently selected also appears, let's go down to the bottom of the page, in what's called the selection tray. It's the contents of this tray that are eventually going to end up on your stick, so we have to pay attention to this pretty closely. Whatever's highlighted shows up down here. But you'll notice that as I click New Photos, the new photo replaces the old. So how do I get the old one to stay if that's the one that I want to have exported? Well, there's a handy-dandy little green pin down here in the selection tray, which, if you hover over it, it says Hold Selected Items, and that is the key. If I click that, it's like sticking a pin through it, and it's going to stay put. Now I'm free to select other photos to also go beside it in the selection tray. So let's say that I want this nice woodpecker photo in this other folder. When I click on it, it becomes highlighted with the blue border like it should, and it appears down in the selection tray. My previous photo, however, is still there because I pinned it, so that's all good. I'm going to go ahead and pin this one too, just to be on the safe side so that they're both there. Now, whether it's these two photos that you want or you want to add more, just go ahead and continue that process. Click on the photo that you want, click the green pin to make it stick, and you're good to go. Now we're actually going to transfer it to the memory stick, to the USB stick, and we're going to go over to this button here on the bottom called Export. That is the term they use in Picasa for getting programs out or getting photos out of the program. Give it a click. There's only two questions here we really care about. The first is, where is the location of the USB stick? The computer is asking you where you want these photos to go to. Because you might not want them to go to the USB stick. You might want them to go somewhere else on the hard drive or whatever. So we need to make sure that it knows that it's supposed to go to the USB stick. Let's click that Browse button so that we can see the contents of your computer. This is where the brand name of your memory stick comes in handy, because as we go down this list, you're looking for that brand name because that's generally what shows up in the list here. In my case, it's a Lexar. That is the USB stick, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that by giving it a left click. It turns blue. And then click OK. And you'll see now that it doesn't say Lexar here because the computer has decided that the character F should denote the Lexar stick. But at any rate, it's going to put it in a folder called New Folder for us on that memory stick, so it's going to be really easy to find once we get the transfer done. So the export location is going to be the F drive, which is the Lexar stick, in a folder called New Folder. The only other thing you have to change is make sure that Use Original Size is checked, because especially if you're doing this for the library's wall monitor camera corner project, you want to have your full resolution photos displayed there. Those are the only two things you have to change in that whole box. Leave everything else the same. Click Export, and the process begins. You may see a light flashing on your USB stick showing that the transfer is taking place, and when it's completed, Picasa will open up that folder on the stick for you. It will show us, there it is. There's a folder called New Folder. I'm going to double click that, and sure enough,